Hello, my name is Dan Oakes. I'm the creator of Cookin', the #1 best-selling recipe organizer with over 3 million copies sold. You know, Cookin's ability to calculate the nutritional value of any recipe, even the ones that you enter, is one of the most advanced features of the Cookin software. This feature is very powerful, but without a basic understanding of how it works, it can be a little confusing at times. So I'm going to demonstrate some of the key aspects of this feature in order to answer some of the most common questions. Let's say, for example, that you're entering a recipe. I'm going to save this one into the breakfast chapter. I'm going to call this Pancake Surprise. And just to keep things simple, see if Cookin can do all that the website said it could do. I'm going to say that this recipe calls for 1 package of pancake mix. Okay. And just to test it out, I'm just going to leave it at that and click this nutrition button here and see what happens. Well, now it didn't calculate the calories or anything else either. I thought this software could calculate this information. And it's such a simple recipe. What's wrong with this? It's flawed. These are the kind of comments that we sometimes get. Well, the problem here, you see, is that the recipe called for 1 package of pancake mix, but we didn't specify how big the package is. And so Cookin doesn't really know how much of this ingredient we're adding into the recipe. It could be a 2-pound package, or it could be a 20-pound package, or a 10-pound package, you know. So without knowing how much food is going into it, there's no way Cookin can calculate how many calories are going into it either. So what we need to do is get a little more specific here, and an easy way to do that and to figure out what that package size is to just double click on this here, and this tells us, okay, this Pillsbury Hungry Jack extra light and fluffy pancake mix, the package size for this is 1 37-ounce box. So now what we can do is close these again, and we can get a little more specific here, and so we can say 1 37-ounce box like that. Okay, and now when we click nutrition, come on, oh good, it figured it out. Thank goodness, now we're getting somewhere. 3,600 calories, except for, you know, that's like 180% of my daily value, and it doesn't sound quite right. I don't know, that sounds like a lot of calories. Well, it is, and the reason is because when I entered this recipe in my haste, I didn't specify how many people this was going to serve, and by default, Cookin assumes that this recipe makes 1 serving. So if I were to eat this entire 37-ounce box, that's how many calories I would consume. But I'm not, because I have 7 people in the family, and so I'm going to type 7 here, because we'll go through this whole box here when we make it. And now I'm going to click nutrition, but it still says 3,600. Well, why is that? Okay, so here's why. I'm going to show you one more thing here. There's this settings button down here where you can control how the recipe is calculated, and there's this checkbox here which says adjust recipe serving sizes. In this case, I happen to have it turned off, so I'm going to go ahead and check it and say, yeah, we want to adjust these recipe serving sizes. We're going to serve 7 people, and I do want to divide the nutrient amounts by the number of people served. So unless this is set, it's going to just tell you how many total calories there are in this recipe. But in my case, I want to know on a per serving basis, so I'm going to change these settings just by clicking this button. I'm going to click OK here. And now Cookin will go ahead and change the recipe, and it tells me that there's 514 calories, which is 26% of my daily value. So that's how much calories I'm going to be consuming when I make this recipe at this point. And so some people will say, well, you know what, I'm going to have this serve more people. I'm going to make the serving sizes smaller. I'm going to eat, instead of 4 pancakes, I'm going to eat only 2, you know. So I'm going to change this to 14, in fact. And I'm going to click OK. Hey, wait a second. It didn't change. It's still 514 calories. Well, what's up with that? Cookin doesn't work. I'm having fun here because we hear these sort of things. People kind of get all riled, you know. Well, it actually does work. What happened is, you see, when I doubled the number of people to serve, it doubled the amount. So, you know, instead of 1 37-ounce box, it's 2 37-ounce boxes now, because I doubled the number of people that I wanted to serve. And so it doubled the number of calories, and then it divided that number by 14, and the result is the same. That's why. So if you actually want to change it the way that I just described, you actually have to go into the recipe and say, okay, no. This recipe now, instead of serving 7 people, because we're gonna eat 2 pancakes now each instead of 4. So I'm gonna change it here. I'm gonna say this recipe serves 14 here. And now when I click nutrition here, there we go. It cut that number in half now. So now I'm consuming 13% of my total calories for the day. So that's how that works. And I hope that answers some of the most common questions. This is the one that we see the most, is people put, 1 bag of Doritos or 1, package or 1 box here, and they're not getting specific enough. So you have to specify how much you're going to consume here. Another thing that we see is people will put like 2 apples, for example. But they might, instead of putting apples, this one's already in there, and I know this will work. They're not, but they'll enter their own ingredient. You can enter your own ingredients and your own brands, and there's this field here. Let me, I guess what I'm saying is I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick here some of the brand details. You can double-click on the brand in your shopping list. Well, actually, let me back up. You can double-click on the ingredient here if you want. This pancake waffle mix has several brands associated with it, okay? And one of these is the preferred. That's the one that Cookin's going to use when it makes your shopping list. And you can override that if I wanted to. For example, if I say, no, this recipe, okay, you got to use the Krusty's Krusty's buttermilk pancake mix for this recipe, because that's just what you got to do with this recipe. This is the way you want to go. So now when I make my when I analyze the nutritional value, now it's going to use the Krusty's brand here. So you can specify which brand you want to use, and that actually changes the nutritional values, because one brand varies from the other when it comes to nutrition and a number of other factors. So that's how that feature works. That's kind of neat to be able to specify the brand. In this case, I'm going to just unselect that, so it uses the default one, and I'm going to click nutrition again here, and now it uses the Pillsbury one, and I'm going to double click on this and show you a couple things. Here's this brand details window for this Pillsbury Hungry Jack Extra Light and Fluffy Pancake Mix. Okay, what you've got here, I'm going to explain these fields real quick because I know they confuse some of the people out there. This indicates the package size. So when you buy this in the store, it comes in a 137-ounce box, and the price is $1.89. Now you can change this depending on whatever the price is in your store if you want to get the exact price per serving. And on the nutrition label, it says that one serving size is 1/3 of a cup, and it says that there's 24 servings in the container. So we just enter that information in there, and then we can go down here. This one, divide package. If if my shopping list tells me that I need half of a 37-ounce box, well, you can't actually buy half of a 37-ounce box in the store. They don't sell it that way, So I'm not going to check this because you can't really divide this in the store. Some things you can, though, like fresh produce, for example. This may say the package size is 1 10-pound bag of apples, But in that case, you can go ahead and take 2 or 3 apples and purchase just those by themselves. So in that case, you can divide the package. So that's what this feature is for here. And you can specify, no, I have to get the whole 10-pound bag of metal gold flour because you can't buy half a bag. But half a bag of apples, onions you can buy by the pound and so forth. So that's what that divide package is for. The nutrition facts, now this tells you basically the amount per serving. So in the serving size is 1/3 cup. So in 1/3 cup, I'm going to consume 150 calories. And I know that there's 24 of these serving sizes in a 137-ounce box, and so that's how Cookin does the main calculation. This equivalence down here, one thing I could do, and this mostly, one thing to help you understand how this works is, one thing you can do is browse around the existing brands that we already have to see how we've populated these fields with information, and that'll give you some idea. For example, with apples, we're going to say 1 apple is equal to 5 grams, for example. And so then when you enter in your recipe 1 apple, and you don't specify the weight of it or the volume, in the units field. So in other words, if I leave this units field empty here and I say, 2 apples, Cooking says, oh, well, I know that 1 apple or 1 blank in the unit field is equal to 5 grams. So 2 apples must be 10 grams. And then it can calculate the nutritional value. So I entered this in. This is for an apple, but we're talking about Pillsbury Hungry Jack extra light and fluffy pancake mix. So in this case, actually, what you can do is, if you wanted to, you could put 1, and I could choose box here. Oops. Bun. No, 1 box. When I say 1 box, I mean 1, and I can now choose here a 37-ounce box. So if I establish this equivalent here, okay, I'm going to save this. I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this. Now, if I'm getting lazy here and I say box of pancake mix, well, Cooking's going to still be able to figure that out because I just established that relationship. I said 1 box is equal to 1 37-ounce box. So when I click here, see, it figured it out. It knew what I meant. So hopefully this demonstration and explaining what these fields do will help. You can add more of these equivalents. If I just click plus here, and I can now establish another relationship and another and another. And so for bacon, you might put 1 strip is equal to 6 ounces or whatever it is, or 1 stalk of celery. Well, what's a stalk? It's about 2 ounces or whatever, 6 grams. I don't know. But you can look that information up on the internet. You don't always have to do this, but I'm just explaining why it's there. In some cases, it does help out. So hopefully this explanation helps. And when you really understand what these fields mean and how it works, then you'll find that Cooking is actually amazingly, incredibly accurate. In fact, when we partnered with the American Diabetes Association to create and computerize some of their most popular cookbooks, like this one here and this one here, Last Minute Meals for People with Diabetes, we went through recipe by recipe and analyzed the nutritional value using Cooking, and we compared it with the nutritional analysis in the cookbook themselves. Here's another one, Magic Menus by the American Diabetes Association. So when we did that, you know what? Everything was real good, except there were just a few recipes with some real big discrepancies that concerned us. So we contacted them and said, we're concerned about a couple of these. And they put us in touch with the authors of these books. Here's another one here. And the author said, well, the reason that your nutritional analysis is different from the one in my book is because yours is more accurate, because you do it down to the brand level. We just take, we say for pancake mix, there's an average, for pancake mix, there's an average number of calories per serving. But you guys take it down to the brand level, and your analysis is just much more accurate. And so that's why there's the difference. And so we were happy about that. We were really thrilled. And so Cooking is very powerful. You can, change the brand. You can specify a light sour cream here, for example, and that'll change the nutritional analysis. So hopefully this explanation helps. Have a great day.